everybody, we're back. It is your resident supervillain, Mr. Jen Washington.
Your resident superhero, Bobby Hill.
You know what's best in the Trusty Sidekick podcast. This is the Trusty Sidekick's special review of Marvel's Runaways. Now, Bobby and I had the pleasure of going to check out the special premiere of Marvel's Runaways in Los Angeles, and I have to say, man, it did not disappoint.
Yeah, first of all, the setup was really great. They took care of us. They got us in very quickly once we got in line. I mean, you know, if you've ever been to one of these things where it's the first night of a show or the first night of a premiere, sometimes it can just be
a spectacle,
dude. It can be a real pain in the ass. But they were pretty chill. We didn't have to wait in line very long. They didn't like sequester us from anybody. You know, once you were inside, it was like, hey, there's a guy who's playing. You know, there was a
bunch of mingling once you were inside.
Like, so everybody was around and just available, which was cool.
A lot of times they try to separate people. You know, like you stay here, you stay there, cast or whatnot.
They did a good job of making everybody feel welcome.
Shouts out to the Regency Theaters at the Bruin in Westwood, Los Angeles for hosting it. Shouts out to Hulu and Marvel as well. I think the best bet to do is to let's go into this. For those who don't know what Marvel's Runaways is, Marvel's Runaways is. Yeah.
Marvel's Runaways is.
That's what you got. Because normally,
Marvel's Runaways.
Because normally it's Runaways are, but it's Runaways
of the isms and the isms. Normally, Runaways is
right. Brian K. Vaughan created a special series of heroes who weren't your typical heroes. They were kids who found out that their parents are supervillains. And in the process, they developed powers of their own. And so this had been one of the many Marvel sagas that has sat around for a while that they didn't know how to turn into live action.
Yeah, again, one of the things we focus on here is live action. And one of the reasons we do focus on it is because of the difficulties to bring something like this to life. And then how do you do it? Is it a series? Is it something you can really get? Can you get 3 or 4 seasons out of something out of that? Is it a half an hour?
Can you stretch it without killing it altogether?
Exactly. Are there enough stories that we can tell about these characters? Or is this a 2-hour thing with maybe a sequel built in?
Yeah, which should have been Inhumans.
And no kidding. And I would say that, honestly, watching this first episode last night, like, I'm ready for multiple seasons of this show.
So let's just get into it. It's going to be kind of, first of all, it debuts on the 27th?
21st,
excuse me.
Which is only a few days
from now, so you'll get this early, you'll get a chance. I don't know if we want to have it heavy spoiler laden or not.
We won't go too heavy into the spoilers. We'll give them some of the premise, we'll give our thoughts on what we think about it, and then we'll tell you to go ahead. So starting out, you see 6 different teenagers. Well, 5 in a set of siblings, what it seems like. And you see them all having a hard time trying to adjust, and you don't exactly know why. You see one of the main ones, the black one, Alex, he's playing a video game by himself, and his father comes in the room and is like, yo, you want me to play with you? And this kid's like, nah, I'm good, fam. I'm good. I can do it by myself. Right. Goes down to breakfast. His mom is like, yo, we've given you time. It's been 2 years. Basically, get your shit together. Yeah. And he's like, no. So, come and find out the parents have this meeting with a bunch of other parents are doing. So, essentially, the kids as a group have suffered a loss somewhere.
We don't know exactly what the loss is.
Right. We don't know what the loss is right off the bat. As the show goes on, it kind of gives away what that is and how these kids have been separated over the last couple of years because of this. Right. But their parents they're bonded because their parents are tied through this organization that they run together.
Right. They do this thing called Pride.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a charity organization. They do fundraising for it.
From which they say is doing a great job.
The fundraisers are doing great.
And also, the best thing about it is these kids are all privileged kids.
Yeah,
so
they're all rich kids.
They're rich kids. They go to a private.
They all come from different walks of life, though. They're very different. They all have their different interests. The parents
no matter what.
Even the parents, even though they're in the same organization,
they
don't necessarily get along.
They're only like bonded because like they have to. It's not like they want to.
Right.
So one of the best things about this is the cast of kids. 6 kids, and I don't know why I'm going blind, so I can't see the screen right now.
Well, because you're staring at the light. Essentially, the setup for this, though, is that the kids bond together one night. It's their yearly event where the parents get together. The kids have a reason to come together that night because it's been a while and they're kind of fed up with not being able to see each other and spend time, even though they have gone off in very different direction over the past years. And it's also at a time where they're at ages where kids do normally go off in different directions right?
Everybody
13, 14, 15, that's when you start to split off a little bit and you find different friendships based on actual interests. But what happens in this story throughout the show is they end up finding out that their parents are doing something that's That looks very weird.
Shouts out to Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage.
Yes.
They were two of the original writers of the OC who translated the comic book from Runaways into the script that you have.
Did you watch the OC? Were you a big OC fan?
Hey, man. Shouts out to Ben McKenzie.
Misha Barton. Give up.
Yo, we're going to start dropping names, baby. Shouts out to Ben McKenzie.
Ben McKenzie, who's now
Jim Gordon. That's why I got that.
Yeah.
But seriously, they translated this story into a great script because what they did is they showed you teenagers today dealing with real life issues.
I thought that was accurate. They did a really good job of modernizing what was the same way that I think kids who probably lived out here at the time felt the OC when that was going on. I'm sure there are kids today that are going to watch this and feel that as it's going on.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. So what it did is it translated that story, and we start seeing things. We start seeing them come back together reluctantly, in a sense.
Right.
Alex wants to set up a party. They all are like, no, but different events bring them together again in the house. Now, at the same time, while the parents are having their own meeting, here's where it gets interesting. At a point before then, you have Molly, who's played by Allegra Acosta. Okay, I'm looking at the screen too. She's played by Allegra Acosta. She does an amazing job. Now, what she does, one of the things that you see is she's a young girl who's going through her first period. And she's having really bad cramps trying to try out for the dance team. They send her to the doctor's office. She goes. The doctor gives her some medication, tells her it's going to take a minute to work.
So you are giving a little bit of a spoiler out here.
That's a little bit. Let me give you this. Okay. Basically, during that, when we find out how her powers kick in, which is most situations we found out in the X-Men universe.
Yeah, and she's the first person that you really see that come, at least on screen. She's the youngest of them.
Right, she's the youngest too.
She's the youngest sibling, and you see that happen first. So yeah, you see this all start to come together. And then you see that the kids kind of come across their parents doing some weird ceremony.
So you've seen in the trailers, everyone's seen the situation where the kids come across the ritual,
right,
and they don't know what it is, and we still don't fully know.
Right.
We have an inkling of what it could be led to because of one of the other parents earlier in the show. Again, don't want to give away too much about it.
But that's the setup of it. I mean, that's basically the setup of this series.
It's the best setup, yeah.
And you know, this was what I knew about the show going into it was. The kids are kids who are from different areas, who are all rich. They come together. They find out their parents are doing something dastardly, and the parents find out that the kids know what's up now.
And it's the craziest way.
From here. And that's all I knew. And this show this episode we watched last night did a great job of putting that into visual for me.
I like the way that they found out, that the kids find out, and the parents find out that the kids know.
Right.
Basically, cell phones get you in trouble.
Right.
Let's just say
cell phones will get you in trouble.
Now,
every time.
One of the biggest things that ties into the effects, of course, you see Molly get a power. She crushes the edge of a seat.
Right.
Which looks cool, can be practical. But one of the things that everybody was worried about, which has been happening in a lot of these series, are the inclusion of animals and unrealistic creatures. Well, if you're not familiar, you haven't heard the stories, I don't know if you have to be under a rock or something, there's a damn dinosaur in this.
Yeah.
And so here's the catch.
Not just a dinosaur.
It's a velociraptor. Okay?
It is a velociraptor.
It's not Jurassic Park.
Named Old Lace.
Okay. He or she don't have a name yet. However,
they haven't named her yet in the series.
One of the things is we finally see a bit of Old Lace, and what we see, I pretty much was pleased with.
I was ready. I mean, the effects in this show so far, and there haven't been a lot of them.
No.
There were some very basic, this was a very minimal effects first episode.
Yes, it was.
But it gives you the idea that there is going to be a point where there is an effects explosion, where the whole thing is going on.
Do you think it's going to be an overabundance of it? Do you think it's going to be an explosion?
I don't think it's going to be too much.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll ever be too much, but I think there'll be a point where all of them have to work in contingency with each other, and you'll see those powers finally start to come out. And of course, the parents are bad guys in this, so they've got powers too, right? So you're going to see that.
That's
happen.
one of the things, and also I'll go back to with that, seeing how it looks.
Yeah.
Visually, this show, for what we saw in the first episode, granted, it may have been because it was on a theater projection screen. I'm hoping this same feeling translates to our computers, our cell phones, our TVs.
Right.
It's shot very well.
It's very crisp.
It's very crisp. I dug it, man. I mean, it's not going into too much. They don't give you a lot because right where it gets hot, it stops.
Yeah, well, the thing that I really liked about it is they really, there's multiple characters that you're going to be dealing with throughout this season, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the sisters Gertrude and Molly who are together.
Gert and Molly. Don't call her Gertrude, call her Gert.
I'll call you Gert. They've got Nico, they've got Alex, and then Chase and Carolina, and they've all got different issues going on, and you get a good sense of who each of them are in this first episode. And they paint the picture in the first hour. You know exactly where these guys are all coming from by the end of the first episode. And I think the performances by them were great also.
I want to call them kids, but they're young actors and young actresses, young actors in general. They are amazing.
Yeah, they are
really good together. They all embody each of their individual characters. And that's a compliment to the actors. That's a compliment to the director.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment to casting.
Yeah. I thought the music was really good throughout the show too, and of course you should expect this if you know anything about the OC. One of the things they did a really great job on was adding a soundtrack to what was going on.
And it works. Broke from the OC. And it works. The soundtrack, there's a party scene that happens, and you're going to hear a lot of songs in there. It's a lot of stuff dealing with high school, so you're going to hear a lot of music there. It's a great. I mean, it's one episode into the beginning of a season.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people say, well, it's too soon to judge. It's too soon to make a full prediction. I'm going to give it my personal. I think this is going to be something that's going to encapsulate everybody. It's going to encapsulate you. It's going to keep you watching.
It's going to encapture and encapsulate? It'll be both of those things?
You know what I meant.
It's going to capture and encapsulate. So you'll be in a capsule.
I'm worried about this damn camera falling again. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. I ain't worried about nothing about the camera. But nonetheless, it's going to have you making sure you want to watch each episode when it comes out. I don't know if Hulu's going to drop everything at once.
I forget what they're doing. I think they're doing a certain number of episodes.
Okay.
And then after that,
because I know they're not going to do the full first 3 or 4. So you're going to binge those. Yeah. Trust me. You'll watch one, and you'll have to watch 2. Then you'll have to watch the next, and then you'll so be ready up like, yo, when are the next ones?
Yeah. At the end of the first episode, I was definitely like, if this was on at home right now, I'd be going home to watch this.
I was telling Bobby when we were leaving, I was like, yo, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
I'm here for this. I like that.
It's good.
So overall, man, what would you say going forward with Runaways?
Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really good show to watch. The ability of the superhero genre to kind of move into this area where now they're moving into the young adult space, which is a good space to be. I mean, this idea, that's what these characters are about. Second, these are not characters that utilize having to wear like costumes or outfits to be heroes. They're just regular people who happen to have powers, which makes it a little bit more realistic. And I think this series is a good change of pace from the other stuff you've got going on right now versus everything. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be in space this year. Punisher is definitely a lot more of a hardcore, gritty, violent, series that just came out. Gifted does have the 2 kids in it, but it's really more on the adult side of what's going on. This is really about teenagers with powers, which I think has a chance, and their parents, and that parent and child dynamic. I think will have a lot to draw a lot of people in, both adults and kids.
I can basically repeat everything you said, and I agree wholeheartedly. Especially having the Gifted out now, it shows you what you can get in this light. Yeah. You have the kids, the Strucker kids, and the Gifted, but here you're getting all teenagers.
It's a good mix. It's two guys, four girls in this one. So
I think
very diverse cast, very diverse, stuff for the show.
And moving forward, because we're getting things like this out of Marvel as a whole, you got Gifted, you've got Runaways, you've got the New Mutants movie coming out. I like where they're going. They're showing you a newer generation coming forward. Yeah. And this is amazing. So listen, this has been our Trusty Sidekick review of Marvel's Runaways. Make sure you check it out when it drops November 21st on Hulu. If you do not have Hulu, sign up, get yourself a free trial.
Or find a friend.
Or find a friend to get you the hookup, because that was the next thing I was going to tell you, right? So from the Trusty Sidekick podcast, I've been your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington.
And I've been your resident superhero, Bobby Hill.
Make sure you guys subscribe to us. Check out recent episodes of the Trusty Sidekick podcast. A new episode will be dropping soon. Check out our reviews, our spoiler-free review, and our spoiler-laden reviews of latent spoilers of DC's Justice League, man. So with that being said, we will holler at you guys next week. Take care. We're out of here. Peace.